Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the second big hearing today. This one in front of Judge Cannon in the Mar-a-Lago documents case. The other, of course, and I've spoken about it, being the Fulton County hearing before Judge McAfee. All right, so Judge Cannon has over the last several months been pretty indulgent for Trump. Has tended to, if not rule for him, at least to extend things, give the U.S. kind of a hard time, and the like. And the previous trial date she had set was quite clearly not going to be able to hold. But she had avoided actually, and to this, even after this hearing, she has yet to set the new date. Part of that might be an overall pattern of being very careful, even cagey, about actual rulings that could be appealed to the 11th Circuit and then be the basis for a motion for recusal. There's a brooding question when you go to Mar-a-Lago about whether Judge Cannon is, through some combination of inexperience and general sympathy for Trump, is obviously as Norm Ornstein has put it, his best lawyer, Trump's best lawyer in the whole country, or whether it's maybe more sinister than that. I'll just say that her conduct is certainly consistent with being kind of in the tank for him. She really often makes things complicated that should be simple and indulges theories and the like. Most recently, there is still pending, and she's yet to rule on a motion for reconsideration where she swallowed Trump's line, hook, line, and sinker about whether you could reveal certain information. She doesn't back off from that because it's completely opposed to what the 11th Circuit has said. That could be a basis for being reversed and recused, and for that reason, I think she will back off. But here, today's hearing was just styled a scheduling hearing, even though it went on 5 hours. Trump was actually present, and according to reports from the newsroom, he was getting pretty bored and sort of shifting in his seat by the end of it. Maybe she picked up on it. But anyway, she heard arguments from both sides. And the dates they had given, both sides understand. Given the things she did, the trial date has to give. The DOJ said, let's do this in July. And Trump side said in the papers, let's do it in August. Those are both kind of academic because, those dates are going to give, sad but true. There's so much room for Trump to really continue to, at least with an indulgent judge, sort of litigate for more time and delays. He could bring an immunity motion. And as he has, even though the Supreme Court presumably will settle that against him, a selective prosecution motion, which is total non-starter in the hands of most judges. But Cannon could easily give, evidentiary hearings. She's already indicated she'll give some discovery about coordination between Jack Smith and other parts of the government. Even though Smith says there's basically nothing there and the relevance is dubious anyway. But just as from the start, she really is indulgent. When she had that whole misadventure with the search warrant, she really gives him a lot of rope, and by rope, I mean time. And so, July, August, it's going to give, and if nothing else, all the litigation and fighting over use of classified information in the case. Those whole skirmishes are going to take time as well. Indeed, even though in the papers Trump was talking about August, they were very forthright in court today that it's got to be after that. And they were basically forthright about why. You just can't do this in the middle of an election. They've given arguments here that they wouldn't give before Judge Chutkan, who has said, we're not here to worry about his political efforts in his campaign. We're here to try cases, but they say otherwise to Cannon. So they, this is the campaign. The people have a right to his full attention during the campaign. Oh, and he couldn't possibly prepare for trial in August, even when he has to go to trial in March, going for another month or however long it'll be in New York. So all kinds of arguments, though the official positions in the papers is July versus August. The official position and strongly pushed in court for Trump was after November. I'm jaundiced now about Judge Cannon, and I do think that however you frame her motivation, there's the fact of the matter is she will continue to give more time, delays, indulgence to Trump for even for motions that are patently meritless, and other judges wouldn't give the time of day, but she's giving the time of month or more to them. And that's why I think this July versus August doesn't actually matter very much. I expect that she will not, because she could easily be reversed, set a date that's after the election, as they're asking for in court. Rather, she'll set something in maybe around August or so. She did actually tell, she's been really tough on the government in many different ways. And here was another time where she said the government's schedule was unrealistic in certain respects. Anyway, she'll set it. That'll sound like it's maybe a reasonable prospect. It will also potentially have the collateral benefit to Trump of boxing out potentially the Chutkan trial, depending on how quickly the Supreme Court rules. But let's say she sets August or early September, then in theory that encumbers those dates. But then what'll happen is there'll be further hearings, et cetera. And, I think we can just anticipate this case is not going to go to trial before November, which is, as many people remarked, a shame, because it's cut and dried. The charges, remember, is he took documents he wasn't authorized to, and he's guilty as sin, including the whole course of conduct where he won't give them back even after they've been demanded, and then the false affidavit where he says we've given them all back. It's a very strong and in many ways simple case, but I will, even if she sets a date in August, say, which would have the effect of possibly encumbering other trials, the main two being Fulton County and the January 6th election interference case. It just won't account for things that are going to happen, especially in the Classified Information Procedures Act. So I think that could be the nominal date, but that Trump can and will rest easy that when time comes, that'll be pushed more down the road, as he's given the chance to really litigate at some length the whatever newfangled or kind of old hat even motion like immunity he comes up with. She'll really give a lot of process. So she finishes the hearing at 3. She doesn't give the new date yet. That's been pretty also typical of her, just spending the hearing, it was a real contrast with McAfee, not asking a lot of questions, saying a couple things that she's probably carefully written in advance, having the parties argue, and then just go away. And so at some point, we're not sure when, but it certainly ought to be soon, she'll set the new date. But again, that will be a date that'll sound like it could actually happen, but I by now will have come to expect that that will be a placeholder date that also is likely to give ground. Anyway, we now know on the record that Trump is asking for after November. And Jack Smith, of course, asking for before. One little misconception to clear up. Some people have wondered, I've seen this on TV very recently, would the DOJ violate its own policy about not interfering with elections if it went to trial in the last 2 months before the actual election? The answer is definitely not. The policy, such as it is, says you don't undertake overt investigative steps in those last 2 months. You don't sort of, rock the water that way. But if a court says, here's a case, you've already brought charges, there's no policy at all that says you don't bring them. So, there are scenarios where this case or really any of the three might go to trial. But either of the two DOJ cases in particular, if it could go to trial in the couple months before, that would not violate any DOJ policy. Okay, so Mar-a-Lago, second big hearing of the day, and she does Judge Cannon from both sides talking about the summer. She does nothing but will set one soon. But, like everything else, I'll consider it a date written in pencil, if not disappearing ink. And we'll see what will be coming down the road to push it yet forward for Trump, the end zone, the touchdown line of over November 2024. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.